Fort Walton Beach Tea Party Patriots present a forum between the candidates for State Representative District 4, brought to you by the First National Bank of Crestview, the financial experts at Lundy & Bowers, Fort Walton Glass Company, Tropical Yacht Sales and Brokerage, the Chief Handyman, the Passionate Patriot, Gulf Coast Detailing, Whitrock Associates Roofing, and the Backyard Outlet.
Don't worry, you still have closing statements, and we have now reached that time, ladies and gentlemen. So these are 1 minute to make a final wrap-up. Mr. Barker?
I think I speak on behalf of all the other candidates in thanking the Tea Party for having us out here today to discuss the issues. Let's give them a hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so honored that you are here tonight. This election matters more than all others since. It is very important that you're here and your presence matters. We live in one of the most conservative districts in all of America, and we keep electing people who like to call themselves conservative and sending them over to Tallahassee and sending them to Washington. And yet we keep getting disappointed time after time after time. So what I would say to you is that integrity does matter. We have now become something that's a laughingstock across the state of Florida. We've been referred to as Scandaloosa. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't gamble on another scandal in Okaloosa County. You have to elect representatives that will stand up and have a track record of integrity. Thank you, March 23rd, Craig Barker, State Representative, District Conservative Republican.
Mr. Melvin.
Well, folks, I'm going to end mine by saying if you want somebody that can go to Tallahassee and take the seat immediately and be effective, I'm it. I've served in the Florida House of Representatives a total of 18 years. And I know what to do, how to do. These folks are fine individual candidates, but they don't know the process that the legislature goes through. I can go over and be there immediately and start working. Remember, you've got 7 months, basically, before the next legislator is going to be elected for a full 2-year term. So that's 7 months. We want to make sure that District 4 has the representation that it deserves, and I can do that and be it. The other thing is, I have a draft of a Constitution amendment that I will find a way to introduce or get it introduced as soon as I can to make sure that to prohibit laws that no bills of retained or ex post facto law impairing the obligation or contract of any law, funding, or otherwise furthering any federal enactment or edict will be out of order in the state of Florida.
Mr. Woods.
Thank you, and you guys have a tough choice. It's going to be fun when we get to the polls. 5 folks, if I include myself in this, that'll be okay, get the job done. But today is today, and circumstances are what they are. I think if you take a look at the breadth and depth of each of these candidates' backgrounds, where they've been, what they've done, and today decide who's the best guy, who's the best person for today. And I'd like to suggest to you that I do have the breadth and depth to bring something new to Tallahassee, something that you don't see very often. And I will do a great job for you guys. And I think that one of our big problems, one of our really, really big problems is we simply have put the wrong people in office at times. They may have been the right person, but they got sucked into the culture. Never forget that culture issue. The culture will suck you in. And you have to have somebody who can fight that culture. I've been there, I've fought back cultures, I've changed corporate cultures. I think I'm the right guy. Just take a look at the background. Thank you.
Mr. Gaetz.
I forgot to mention this during my wild card time. We should have called it the Jerry Melvin time, the wild card time. This week was a big week for my campaign. In addition to having the endorsements of Governor Jeb Bush and Colonel Bud Day, today I received the endorsement of the National Rifle Association because they trust me to be able to go and stand up for our Second Amendment freedoms. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that will be a major priority, is making sure that our Second Amendment protections are never whittled down. You know, there are easier things to do at my age than run for office. I had to pray long and hard about the decision to do this. But I'll tell you that I think my generation has more at stake potentially than others. You know, we're the generation that inherited the greatest America from the greatest generation. And we could be the first generation in American history to pass along a diminished America if we don't change how government acts, if we don't make government more conservative. That's why I'm running. That's why I've championed conservative causes in our community. Conservative comebacks are never easy. I need your help, and I need your vote on March 23rd.
Mr. Garvie?
When I started, I said there was 3 tenets I'm running on. I talked about integrity, I talked about experience, now I'm going to talk about the last one, that is dedication. For the last 11 years, I have been serving you in different capacities. For 8 years, I was on the Community Redevelopment Agency, 3 of those years as the chairman of that. I've been on the City Council in Fort Walton Beach. In my 2nd year as a City Councilman, I was nominated and was the runner-up for Councilman of the Year for the state of Florida. I also, on my 2nd year, I became the Mayor Pro Tem of Fort Walton Beach. I've been the Mayor Pro Tem now for the last several years. I also, it's something I didn't mention on the financial side of the business, is that I have for the last 25 years been on the board of directors of a $500 million financial institution where I'm making financial decisions on a monthly basis for 50,000 families, and we have been able to keep those families above water through these tough times. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that I do have a, was that the bell? Thank you very much.
Mr. Kelly?
Well, candidates, we want to thank you for your time, and we really want to thank you, the public, for showing up this evening. If you would, please remain seated until the candidates have an opportunity. We're going to escort them back through the crowd, and they will be available out in the foyer area for more questions and, of course, their campaign materials. We want to give a big thank you to Mr. Ken Walsh from WFTW. Please give him a round of applause. And again, we want to thank the great folks here at Grace Tabernacle. And Matt, if you can give me 1 second, let me get everybody on. I know. We're just trying to, sorry. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, our candidates.
Line up, boys.
Yeah, we're. Line up. Now remember, you have a chip in your hand. That is your vote. There's a straw ballot outside. There's a box with the candidate's name on it. And as we sit here, we'd like to thank it's Mr. Jerry Melvin on the end, Mr. Matt Gaetz, Mr. Kabe Woods, Mr. Bill Garvie, and Mr. Craig Barker. And thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Now you can applaud.
Now you can applaud for them.